Hello everybody. We just got a brand new beta update right before Winter's Feast that adds a lot of new content for good old Pearl. From new island decorations to massive drying racks, salty upgrades, and even a cute little tea shop ran by Pearl herself, as well as some other cool changes. Let's have a quick dive on in. Keep in mind this is a beta, so a lot of the stuff you're seeing now will differ probably massively before release and is always subject to change. The main focus of this beta is to expand on Pearl's offerings a lot more. Before this update, she was almost entirely around fishing and fishing related benefits, which was nifty, but if you didn't care about fishing, then Pearl was nothing more than a step to the endgame. But now she offers some new, non-fishing related gear. These will unlock as you progress through the game, with the crux of it beginning after you kill her ex-partner, the Crab King, which will give her the ability to give you the ability to craft the Combriner. This new forge-like workstation allows you to craft new salty themed gear, the first of which being an upgraded ice staff. It functions just like the regular ice staff, but seemingly has increased freezing power and freezes stuff quicker. As someone who is an advocate for ice staves, I'm all for this. Next, you can make some grit. This item, when housed in your inventory, will grit any icy walkover with salt, making it so you can no longer slip on it. Useful for the Frostjaw boss fight and not very much else to be honest. But something universally useful are these salt bags. These also sit in your inventory like the grit, but will instead absorb water from you to dry you off passively. You'll know if it's working because you'll see little water droplets being sucked into them. A very useful item all around, especially during spring and for certain characters. After that, you can make the Salty Dog Hat. This is an alternative version of the Polly Roger hat, even requiring one in its recipe. Instead of summoning a bird, it summons this smug looking dork instead. It functions pretty much identically to the Polly Roger hat, with a companion that will grab items for you as its durability goes down over time. But this one clearly can't fly, and will instead swim around much faster. It even favours swimming if ever possible. This sounds like a downside at first glance, since flying is usually much faster, but the gimmick of this hat dog is that as it swims around, it starts getting more and more crusty. Let it swim around for a long enough time, and eventually it will come back onto land and shake off all of that salt that it accumulated. So basically, put this hat on when you're out at sea or near the coast to slowly generate salt over time. I also forgot to mention quickly, you can make bottles at the Combriner as well if you don't want to have to sail around for them. As I mentioned earlier though, as you progress through the endgame, the Combriner will unlock some new recipes. These are just mostly upgraded versions of the items we already looked at. With an even stronger ice staff that freezes things in way less hits, a more efficient desiccant that dries better, and a gritter that, instead of doing a little personal gritting for yourself, spreads salt in a large area around your feet for a time, which is good in a group setting. But you'll also eventually be able to make an item that lets you recall to Pearl's house on command. This is obviously super duper useful. In the endgame, you'll probably have relocated Pearl closer to your main base anyway, so this functions as a multi-use recall for your base or heck, wherever you want Pearl to be. Its recipe only calls for like one desert stone as well, it's really cheap. But we're not done with the new Pearl gimmicks. Oh boy, are we far from done. After you've relocated her off her island thanks to Wagstaff's Big Stupid Arena, and then off the Moon Key again, you'll be able to embark on Pearl Quest 2.0. Pearl will now have a whole new list of jobs and quests for you to do, such as replacing the turf around her place with beach turf, displaying big fish inside the fish scales, building even more drying racks, clearing out monsters, and even setting up these adorable lampposts for her. On top of a fourth upgrade for Pearl's Krabby home. Basically, you gotta do all the things you did before the Crab King again. I did have to data mine most of this stuff, so pardon me if it's not too accurate. Each level of decoration will unlock even more Pearl structures for you to make, such as the aforementioned big lampposts which chain together and can use light bulbs just like the ones from the Year of the Depths Worm, a massive drying rack that can dry many things at once and also will produce salt when drying kelp, and even a hot spring that you can soak in. In fact, this feature isn't limited to just Pearl's hot spring. Any thermal bath you can find on the lunar island can be soaked in to regain sanity if you chuck a bath bomb in there, even as characters that probably shouldn't be doing that. But for most characters, it's pure upsides at the cost of getting wet surprisingly slowly for being completely submerged in water. And yes, of course, Warp Main stay winning yet again. But there is one more new Pearl feature after you've done all of this: her new side hustle. If you get her decoration score high enough, Pearl will now open up her own little tea shop. Here, you can bring her bottles and a bunch of different dried flowers, which is something you can now do, by the way. You can dry pretty much any type of flower on a drying rack to get its respective dried version, to get nice bottles of tea. These tea items are a little bit different compared to food. Instead of just drinking them in one gulp, you get to sip them 10 times, and offer you a whole range of buffs. From sanity regeneration over time, to sanity draining over time, temperature control, and even healing. Probably, at least. In my testing, the teas didn't do anything at all besides restore 1 HP per sip, but if you look in the code, they should be giving you like sanity, heat, and all sorts of different stats depending on the tea. It just doesn't work right now because it's a beta, these things happen. All of this sets you on a little quest to make Pearl's tea shop / spa house. A lovely little addition to our old girl, and hopefully makes up for the whole selling her island and summoning a horrible moon devil on it. Honestly though, I would prefer if all of this stuff was significantly earlier in the game, since it feels a little bit late for all of this stuff, but that's just me. Heck, it is totally possible it could be done earlier and I just missed a detail in testing. The nature of betas. But on top of Pearl's new salty quest into tea making, there are a couple of new changes to mention before we wrap up this beta spotlight. First of all is that fish can now be jerked on a drying rack and will actually provide a brand new type of fish jerky instead of regular jerky. A feature that existed in Shipwrecked for many years has finally made its way to Don't Starve Together, but it has different sprites. And the last thing to mention is that ice cubes now have had their recipe tweaked a little bit, in case for some reason you really want to make this incredibly niche item. I suppose it helps. But that's it for this very quick beta spotlight. I probably missed a few details here and there, but that's alright, it's a beta, and most things here will probably be out of date by the time the update actually drops. But with how complicated things are, I wanted to do a spotlight either way. Thank you for watching everybody. Let me know what your favourite feature of this update is down below in the comments, because I know for a fact it's not the grit sack. Have a lovely day everyone, cheers for watching.